Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. This video I'd like to show you part 17 of the Crochet Along Mandala Madness designed by Helen Shrimpton. I'm using Scheepjes, Sunkissed and Cotton 8 yarns for this part, and we're going to do a lot of decorations on these shells that we've made in the previous part. We're making popcorns and clusters and a lot of back and front post stitches. I'll take you step by step through all these decorations. I hope it's a useful video for you, and thank you for watching. Round 103, we're going to start just before the first little shell that's before the big shell number 1. So as a reference, here you have your ruffles. This is shell number 1. Before that you have a little shell. Afterwards you also have one. You want the one that's before. And you have 3 single crochets here. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to start in that center single crochet. And we're going to start in there with a standing single crochet. So in the middle, because you have 3 stitches there, so that's right in the center. We continue by actually skipping a stitch, and now we're also going to start our repeat unit. We're going to skip a stitch, which is going to be the next single crochet. That's that single crochet. Then on the first stitch of the small shell, you work 2 double crochets. So 1 and 2. The next you work 1. Now you work 2 double crochets again. And there we go. So 1 and 2. Now you work 1 again. And on the last stitch, number 5, you work 2 double crochets. And 2, like so. So what you see here is 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Going to skip a stitch and then work a single crochet in the stitch after that. So you're skipping the first single crochet, and in the second, like so, you work a single crochet. We're going to continue onto our first shell, onto shell number 1. We're skipping these 2 single crochets you have there. You're going to skip those and then start on the first stitch of the shell with a V-stitch. It's a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So skipping these two single crochets, the first stitch, that's that back post stitch, you work a double crochet, chain 1 and a double crochet in the same stitch. That's your first V-stitch made. And now we're going to skip the next stitch, that's that one, and then this, so we're going to skip that one, and in the stitch afterwards going to work another V. So skipping one stitch, and the stitch after work again a V, chain 1 and a double crochet. You're going to do this 12 times. You're going to do this all the way around. So again, skipping the next stitch, and then work a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Skip a stitch, that stitch there, and in the next stitch, work a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. You can see how I've now worked a few. I'm going to continue until you're all the way around. One more to go. So skip a stitch and then work a V-stitch, chain 1 and a double crochet. And now I've done this 12 times. So I have 12 of these V's. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of those V's. At this point back here you should have a few stitches left. I'm going to skip the next stitch again, so that's still part of the repeat, and then work there we go. Let me just skip that stitch and then work a V-stitch. Like so. You have a few stitches before you get to your next small shell. We're going to skip 2 of those. That's 1, 2 stitches, those 2. Then work a single crochet. And then we're going to skip 2 stitches again, and that will bring us onto the next small shell, where we're going to do exactly the same as on this side. So there's a bit of asymmetry on these 2 sides, so don't worry about that. Let me just move everything. Here we go. So you're going to skip these 2 single crochets you have here, and on the first stitch of the small shell you work 2 double crochets. You're going to do exactly the same as you did on the previous one. Then work 1 double crochet, then work 2 again, got 2, and then 1, and then work 2. So it's the same rhythm as you had before, like so. And now we can continue on to shell number 2, where we're first going to skip a stitch. And we first work that single crochet before we get onto the shell. So we're going to skip the next stitch. That's going to be this one here. You've got 3 single crochets there, so you can skip the first, work the second with a single crochet, and then you're going to skip the third. So if you look at these 2 positions, you'll see that here you've got 3 stitches and you worked a single crochet in the middle, and here you had 5 stitches, which was 4 single crochets, those 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochets, and that last back post stitch. So you skip the 2 stitches, work the single, and skip the 2 stitches. So that way you're getting a pattern that's reasonably symmetric, although your base is asymmetric. We're now going to continue on to shell number 2. For shell number 2, we just really need to concentrate, because you're going to do front post and back post stitches alternating, and that is of course very easy to just get yourself hopelessly confused. Going to start with skipping this last single crochet, like I said, and on the first stitch of the shell we're going to work a back post double crochet. So on that first stitch work a back post double crochet. Then on the next stitch work a front post double crochet. That you're going to do 7 times. So it was once, then a back post stitch again, and then a front post. So you're alternating back post, front post, back post, front post. You're going to do this alternation 7 times. This here is number 3. So here's the front post, then a back post, and then a front post. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. My yarn keeps getting itself twisted here at just out of view. It's very irritating. And then the front post double crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just keep counting, because when you're concentrating on the front and back post stitches, you're not necessarily counting them, which is fine. Just stop to count them every so often. And a front, and if all went well, this is now number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've done this 7 times, and now you're just about to the top of shell number 2. On your next stitch you're going to work a half double crochet. So this is just a normal half double crochet, nothing strange about it. So just work a half double crochet. In the same stitch you're going to work a front post double crochet. So pay attention, you now worked in the stitch, and now you're going to work around the same stitch. So you don't go to the next post, the same stitch. So this is a way of making a small increase. So, and now you're going to come down and do the same as we've done here. So the next stitch is again a back post double crochet, and then a front post double crochet around the next. And you're again doing this 7 times. So that was once, back post, 2, the front post that goes with that, 3, back post, and then 3, this front post, and number 7, so that's a back post double crochet, and then a back post, sorry, a front post double crochet. If you're doubting as how to count, you should have at this point 1 stitch left here. We're going to do a back post stitch around that in a moment. Here was the increase, that's the half double you just worked, there, and that was the front post that we did together with those 2 in the same position. So that means this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The small repeat 7 times. And then you need to do 1 more back post double crochet. Like so. So what you see here, you're alternating front and back post stitches, except here in the middle where you're working a half double crochet just in one position. This here is on shell number 2, so that's important, don't work this in the wrong position. You're going to skip a stitch again. So we've got now a series of single crochets here before you get to the 3rd shell. You're going to skip a stitch. It's going to be that first single crochet, you're going to skip that, and then work 3 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3 single crochets, and then you're going to skip this last single crochet before you get to these 2 that you worked into the shell. So these 2 that are part of shell number 3, and then we're again going to do something different. We're going to start by working a double crochet in that first stitch, and then a chain 1 and skip a stitch. So your first stitch that you're working in is the first of these 2 single crochets that you worked in one stitch, because you're skipping that last one, you're skipping that one. So the next one is going to be that stitch there. Work a double crochet in it and chain 1 and skip a stitch. That's going to be that one. And so in the next one you work a double crochet again and chain 1, skip a stitch, and work a double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch. I'm going to do this 14 times. That's basically going to bring you all the way around, and then you just need to work a double crochet still on the last stitch. So what you can see is that on your 4 shells you're working a different detail on every shell, so you really need to focus what detail you're working on which shell. You don't get them mixed up. And then the repeat number 14, chain 1. So if you look here, you see you've done 14 of these. You've got 14 double crochets here and a chain 1 after each. You now have a few stitches left here on your on the shell itself, so those will be those stitches. You have 3 stitches left. Of course, still skipping a stitch, work a double crochet on the second last stitch on your shell. chain 1, going to skip 2 stitches. So the first one is going to be still on the shell, because you've got the shell here, that's that single crochet there. You've got then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 single crochets that are not on your shell. And you're going to skip the first one and the second one. Then in the third you work a single crochet. You're going to work 3 single crochets actually. And then you have 1 stitch left, that's this one, before you get to shell number 4. And that fourth one, or the last one I should say, number 5, you're going to skip that one. And then comes shell number 4, where we're going to do exactly the same as we did on shell number 2. So 2 and 4 are the same, and then 1 and 3 are different. So we're skipping this stitch here, and then on the first stitch of the shell you work a back post double crochet. On the next stitch you work a front post double crochet. And you're again doing this, you're going to do this 7 times. That's a back post stitch, and then the front post. 2, and that's 3. I've connected a new thread of yarn here. I'm working that. I'll work that away later. Then a back post stitch and a front post, and again a back post and front post. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A back post, and the front post. One more, and then you can do the increase again. So a back post and a front post double crochet. So you can see how you now have 7 of those, and from here we can again make the small increase, a half double crochet and a front post stitch again. So on the next stitch you work a half double in the stitch, and then work a front post double on the same stitch. That's important, don't go to the next stitch. So now you've made your increase, and now you can come down and work 7 repeats again of a back post double crochet, and followed by a front post double crochet. So that's the first repeat of, I'm going to do this 7 times. And 2, 3, this is 4, and 5, there we go, that's 5, back post stitch again is number 6, and the front post that goes with that, and then number 7, so you need to do a back post followed by a front post, and at this point on your shell you should have 1 stitch left, that one. I'm going to do a back post double crochet on that last stitch. That brings you all the way around. I'm going to skip the next stitch and then work a single crochet. So we're skipping the next stitch. It's going to be that stitch, then work a single crochet, And now we're at the same point where we were when we started this round. So I'm going to skip the next stitch. It's going to be this one, and then on the small shell work 2 double crochets in the first stitch, followed by 1 double crochet, then again 2 on the same stitch, followed by 1, and then 2 on the same stitch, and 2. And this is of course exactly the same as the small shell that we started with, this one here. So you're going to do everything that you've just done, you're going to do again all the way around. So you're going to work the V stitches on shell number 1, and then of course again the small shell here. Work these front and back post stitches on shell number 2. You're going to work a double crochet chain 1 on shell number 3, and on shell number 4 you're again working these front and back post stitches. Go all the way around, and I'll see you for the next round. Round 104, new color yarn on my hook. We're starting on the small shell that's before the big shell number 1. So you've got here the shell with the V stitches, so the small little shell that's before that. Going to start with making a standing single crochet in the 4th double crochet you have here. Remember, you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, and then again 5, 6, 7, 8. So number 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Going to start there with a standing single crochet. Do a second single crochet on the next stitch, and the stitch after do a half double, like so. You're going to skip the next 3 stitches, which means these 2 half double crochets, or sorry, those 2 double crochets and the single, which means the next stitch you're going to work into is the V stitch. Going to make a series of popcorn stitches in the V stitches. First you do a chain 1. This is also the start of our repeat unit, so that's a chain 1. And now we do a popcorn in the V stitch. So that means 5 double crochets, and then we bring those together. We've done popcorns before. So work 5 double crochets in the V. 2, 3, 4, and 5 double crochets. To make the popcorn, you open up, go back to that first stitch where you insert your hook, pick up your yarn again, pull the loop tight, and bring through that first stitch, and do a chain 1. This chain 1 is to tie your popcorn together, so it's still part of the popcorn stitch. And now we do a chain 1 because it's part of the pattern. So technically you have 2 chains here. The first one belongs to the popcorn, and the second one is because you want to go from the one V to the next V. And this we're going to do 13 times, which basically means in every V stitch we're going to work a popcorn, because you have 13 V's here. So in the next stitch, work again 5 double crochets and the chain space of your V. That's 3, 4, 5. Open up, go back to the first double crochet where you insert your hook, pick up the loop again and close, pull through the first stitch, chain 1, that's the popcorn, and then another chain to go to the next popcorn. I've now done the repeat 2 times. I'm going to do one more and then I'll make a jump in the video, because I'm not going to show you all 13 of these popcorns. So that's the third double crochet, just 3, going to do 5, 4 and 5, open up, go back to the first one, pick up the loop, close, pull through, chain 1 to close the popcorn, and chain 1 because the pattern says so. And this you're going to do on all of these V's. So I've now done 3, I'm going to do 10 more, and I'll see you when I'm making the last popcorn. I'm onto the last V stitch, so I'm going to do a popcorn stitch in that last V. So that's 5 double crochets again in the chain space of the V stitch, and one more, and 5 double crochets, go back to the first one and pull your loop through there, chain 1 for the popcorn and chain 1 on the pattern. You're now going to skip 3 stitches, which means you're going to skip the single crochet here and these first 2 double crochets. This means the third double crochet you're going to work. So let's skip these 2 and the third double crochet you're going to work a half double in. That's a half double crochet. A single crochet on the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2, and then a half double again on the stitch after. So that means if you're looking to the small shell, the first 2 and the last 2 double crochets, you're leaving those unworked and you're working in your center 4 double crochets. We're going to go over to the next shell, so shell number 2. Just move my mandala a little bit. So we're going to skip the next 3 stitches, so that's again going to be these 2 double crochets here and the single crochet, and then the first stitch we're working in is that back post stitch here on shell number 2. We're going to start by making a double crochet in that stitch. So in that back post stitch there, you make a double crochet, like so. Now I'm going to start a small repeat again. It's 2 double crochets in the next stitch, 1 and 2, and then do 1 1, so that's 2 double crochets over 2 stitches, and 1. So you've worked 4 double crochets over 3 stitches. You're going to do this 4 times. So again, 2 on 1 stitch, and then 2 on 2 stitches, and 2. Let's repeat number 2. Now repeat number 3, again 2 double crochets, and 1 and 1. 2 double crochets in 1 stitch. This is repeat number 4, and then work 1 and 1. There we go. We just double check that, so that's the if you just check the positions where you've got the 2 double crochets, it's easy to check. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 repeats here, so that's correct. We're now going to do a double crochet on the next 2 stitches, so we're changing the rhythm here. So 2 double crochets on 2 stitches, that's 1, and on the next stitch is 1, then 2 stitches on the next stitch, so 1 and 2, and then again 1 and 1. 1 double crochet, and 1 double crochet. So pay attention here, because this is bound to be a place where something goes wrong with where you make 1 double crochet or 2 double crochet. So really double check here that you make no mistakes. And now we're come back down within the same rhythm as we went up. So we're going to do a double crochet on the next 2 stitches. So that's 1 and 1, and then 2 on the 1 stitch. 1 and 2, and doing that 4 times again. So that is once. Now going for number 2. That's 1, 1, and work 2, 1, 1, and work 2 double crochets on the same stitch, and then again 1, 1, and work 2 double crochets, and that is the end of repeat number 4. And at this point you should have 1 back post stitch left, and on that 1 stitch we're going to do a double crochet. And if you've got 0 stitches left or 3 stitches left, whichever, you know something most probably went wrong up here somewhere, because the repeat going up and coming down, that most probably went fine. It's that little bit here in the middle where things can go wrong. So on that last back post stitch you work 1 double crochet, and then we can go on to the bit that's in the middle here, and then we go on to shell number 3. So we're going to now skip 2 stitches. You've got 3 single crochets here in the middle. See here, those 3. You're going to skip the first 2, and then the 3rd single crochet you work a single crochet. On that 3rd single crochet work a single crochet. So you can see how you're pulling your shell onto this point here, and then we can move on to shell number 3, where we have the chain spaces, and there we're again going to do something different, of course. And for the 3rd shell we're going to making trebles in front of the skipped of the chain spaces. I'll show you. Start with a single crochet on the 1st double crochet here. So work a single crochet in there, and now we work a treble in the stitch that we skipped from around 103. If you look here, you'll see there's every time there's a stitch here in between, you're going to work a treble in those stitches. And we're going to do that between all of these posts. And what's important is that you don't work over the chain 1 space. We're going to keep that to the back of our work, that we don't accidentally cover that. So we're going to work a treble, so that's twice over, and then insert your hook into that stitch that's between the posts. And you can see it's easy to take that chain space with you. You don't want that. You want to make sure it's to the back of your work, that you're not covering that chain 1 space, and then complete your treble. And this you're going to do 5 times. That was 1. The second one is again work a single crochet on the double crochet, and then a treble in the skipped stitch. So that's 2, 3, again a single crochet on the double crochet, and a treble on this skipped stitch. And every time making sure that your chain space is to the back, that you're not accidentally working over it. That's number 3. Number 4, single crochet and work over in the skip stitch, and then repeat number 5, again a single crochet in the double crochet, and the skipped stitch, work a treble. You can see how you're getting this nice little edge here. If you've now done it 5 times, we're going to make a small increase now. So we're working a single crochet in the double crochet, and you're going to work a single crochet in the chain 1 space, and you're going to work a treble in the stitch that's below this chain 1 space. So that's in this position here. There we go. Two, just need, there we go, and 3. So what you've done different here is that you've worked a single crochet in the space, in the chain space above and below. You've worked a stitch, so you've increased that little 1 stitch there. And now we're going to come down and work the same here as we did there. So a single crochet in the next stitch. Oh, sorry, we're going to do this 5 times also. So a single crochet in there, then a single crochet in the space, and a treble in the same position. So that's 2, then again a single crochet on the stitch, single crochet in the space, and a treble in the skipped position. Always making sure that the moment when you're working the treble, that in my case the green stitches, that they're really held to the back. Let me see, I've now done it 3 times, yes, 3, so I need to do 2 more. So it's a single crochet on the double, single crochet in the space, and then the treble down here, like so, and one more time a single crochet on the double crochet, a single crochet in the space, and a treble in the skipped stitch underneath that chain 1 space. So that means that here in the center part, here you've worked 5 increases. We're now going to come down and basically work on this side the same as we did on that side. That means a single crochet on the next stitch, that's going to be the treble here, and a on the double crochet, and then a treble in the stitch below here. So you work a single crochet on that double, and then the treble in the skipped stitch 1 row down. I'm going to do that again 5 times. That was once, and 2 times, and then this is number 3, and here it is a bit slow going because you really want to not work over that chain 1 space. The reason why you're leaving it free is because then the design is much nicer. Let me see, that was 4 if everything went right. 1, 2, 3, 4, yes. And then a single crochet here, and work that last one there. Like so. and then you've completed your entire third shell. And now we can have 3 single crochets here we're going to work, and then we can go on to shell number 4. The little bit here in between, you have those 3 single crochets. Going to skip the first one, work a single crochet in the middle, and then skip the third one. So of these 3, you're going to work a single crochet in the middle. And pay attention, because this is different to this side, because here you also had 3, but you worked there, you worked in the third. So pay attention, this is not the same for these 2 positions. But do not worry about that, everything will work out just fine. On to our last shell, shell number 4, and here we're going to do the same as we did on shell number 2. So it means we're going to work a whole lot of double crochets, and we need to keep in mind exactly where we're working how many. I'm going to start with working 1 double crochet in this first back post stitch here. That's 1 double crochet in there, and then 2 in the next stitch, and then 1 and 1 again. It's 1 double crochet and 1. And this you're now doing 4 times. Remember, exactly the same as on shell number 2. So that means 2 on the 2 double crochets in 1 stitch, and then 1 and 1, then 2 on the same stitch, and then 1 and 1, 2 on the same stitch, and 1, and now I just need to count my repeats, and 1. Let me just double check, because I haven't really been counting. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, I've done this repeat now 4 times. To continue, now this is always the bit where you really need to pay attention, because this is most likely where it's going to go wrong if it goes wrong. Work a double crochet on the next 2 stitches. So it's 1 and 1. Now work 2, and now work 1 and 1. And now you're ready to come back down again. That means 1, 1 and 2. And there we go, 2. And again 1, 1 and 2. Work 1 double crochet, 1 and 2, and on your last repeat work 1, 1 and 2. And if everything went right, you should have 1 back post stitch left there, and in that 1 stitch you're going to work 1 double crochet, and then you're almost back to where we started, because here's shell number 1 with the V stitches again, where you're going to work popcorns in. So I have to bridge the gap through this small shell here. Going to do exactly the same as we've done before, which means skipping 3 stitches. So you're again going to skip the single crochet and then these 2 doubles here, and in that 3rd double you're going to work a half double crochet. That's a half double crochet. The next 2 stitches work a single, 1, 2, and then on the next stitch again work a half double. Like so. And now you're back to where we started our repeat unit, because this half double here is the same as the half double we worked over here, so that's the same as that half double. So now you can start working these popcorns, and do remember all the chain stitches, because we're going to start, for example, with a chain 1, do a chain 1 and then work popcorn, which has a chain 1 to the popcorn and a chain 1 to go to the next stitch. So remember all those chain stitches. It's a long round, so especially with the popcorns, go all the way around, and when you get to your first stitch, close on this first single crochet with a slip stitch. Round 105, I have a new color yarn on my hook, and we're going to start in the single crochet just before the popcorn shell. So if you've got any shell with all your popcorns, and then just before that you've got a half double, a single, and a half double. That second single crochet, that's the stitch we're going to start in. You're going to start in there with a standing single crochet. So these 4 stitches, it's that second single crochet, that one. So it's the third 1, 2, 3 of these 4. Start in there with a single crochet, like so. Now we're going to start our repeat unit. In the chain space, so that's between the half double and your first popcorn, in that chain space, you're going to work 2 double crochets. So 1 and 2. This inevitably, of course, means you're skipping that stitch, that half double that you have there. So you're going to skip that stitch and work 2 double crochets in the chain space. We now work a double crochet on the popcorn. If you just take a moment to actually look at the top of your popcorn stitches, if you look to your popcorn stitch, you'll see this here is a good place to work that double crochet, so on top of your popcorn stitch. Because you could also choose, well, some people prefer to use like this one here, that's the chain 1 you use to tie everything together. I don't like that one. I like this position here, which is where you actually pull the first stitch through the last stitch. So I'm going to work them in this space here. It's more on the popcorn, and you're going to work a double crochet on every popcorn. So on the popcorn, on your next popcorn, so that's for me that I'm going to work them in this space here, work a double crochet. This you're going to do 13 times. So in the chain space you work 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and in the on the popcorn, I should say, you work 1 double crochet. So that was 2 repeats. You're going to do this 13 times, and that will bring you all the way around. So that's 2 double crochets in the chain space and 1 on the popcorn. So continue like this. I'm going to continue until I'm on this side of the popcorn. Show you once more. That's 2 double crochets in the chain 1 space, that's between the popcorns, and 1 on top of your popcorn, like so. When you've done this 13 times, you're at the other end of the popcorn shell, and your last double crochets in this last popcorn here. You still have 1 chain space left before you get to a series of single crochets. In that chain 1 space, going to work 2 double crochets and 2. We're now going to skip the next stitch. That's going to be the first one. Then in these center 2 stitches, going to work a double crochet and then skip the last stitch again. So skipping the first stitch, in the center 2 you work a single crochet on both of them, like so. And now we're moving on to the second shell here. I'm going to skip this last stitch of these 4 and then go onto the shell, where we're going to work back post double crochets. We're going to work 40 back post double crochets, and that basically comes down to all of these. So the first stitch here on the shell, work a back post double crochet. So that's 1, and then this here's number 2, 3, going to work 40. So continue until you have 40. I've now worked 40 back post double crochets, and number 40 should fall over on your last stitch of the shell number 2. So that's a checkpoint for you. So you have these 2 single crochets that are coming now. So but number 40 should fall on that last stitch in the in shell number 2. We're now moving on to shell number 3, and we're going to skip the first stitch. You've got 2 single crochets here next to one another. You're going to skip the first single crochet, and in the second single crochet we work a double. So skipping the first one, in that second work a double crochet. This is again the first of 35 this time. 35 double crochets. Remember, in the shell number 2 you work back post doubles, and on shell number 3 you work double crochets. Going to work 35 double crochets. It's basically 1 on every stitch, and that's going to bring you all the way to the other side of shell number 3. So work 35 double crochets, and that will bring you to the other side. When you've done 35 double crochets on shell number 3, your stitch number 35 should be in the last stitch here, this treble of shell number 3. We're now going to skip the little single crochet that's between shell number 3 and 4, and then continue on shell number 4. So we're going to skip this little single crochet and then do 40 back post double crochets. Skip the single, and then this is exactly the same as you've done on shell number 2. So we're working 40 back post double crochets, which will again bring you to the other side of this shell. So again, take your time on these back post stitches. Do them all 40 of them, and then I'll see you on this side of the shell. When you've worked 40 back post double crochets again, number 40 is on your last stitch of shell number 4. You're now onto these 4 little stitches before you get back to shell number 1 with the popcorns. We're going to skip the first stitch and work a single crochet in stitch number 2 and 3, and then skip the 4th stitch again. So skipping this stitch, work a single crochet in number 2 and 3. Then we're skipping stitch number 4, and now we're back to the start of the repeat unit. So in the chain space here, going to work 2 double crochets and 2, and then work a double crochet on the popcorn, which if I can get, there we go. And now you're going to work that all the way around again. So 13 repeats, and then of course in that last chain space still work 2 double crochets, but you're now basically back where we started. So you're going to do the repeats all the way around, and when you get to the beginning, close with a slip stitch. Round 106, we're going to start by making a single crochet in the double crochet that you made into popcorn number 11. If you have all your popcorns here, you count all of them, this is number 11, and into that of course you have 1 double crochet, and in that stitch there. I'm going to start with a single crochet. And of course the first one in this case is a standing single crochet. Continue and make half double crochet on the next 3 stitches. Going to be 1, 2, 3 half double crochets. We're going to now skip 6 stitches, and also I just forgot to say that these 3 half doubles are already part of our repeat units, so we've just started our repeat units. Going to skip the next 6 stitches. First do a chain 1. Don't forget this chain 1, this is very easy to forget. Skipping 6 stitches, we're then going to do a treble cluster in the same stitch. If we just skip 6 stitches, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches that you're going to skip. Then in number 7, you're going to work. So it's going to be the second single crochet of these 2 you have there. So in that second single crochet, you're going to work a treble cluster. And that's in essence a treble 3 together. And I'm just going to fold my work so that I can really get into this stitch here. So in that second single crochet, that's first leg, then the second. I'm really folding my work because I don't want to get my loops to be too big. That's always a bit of a challenge. Just split my yarn a little bit. There you go. And then the third loop, or leg I should say. I have 4 loops on my hook and take them all off. So that's your first treble cluster. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and in the same stitch you're going to do another treble cluster. You're actually going to be doing 3 in the same position. So then that is the first leg, the second leg, and the third leg. 4 loops that you're going to take off in one go. Again, chain 3, and now you need to do the third one again in the same position, so everything in that same single crochet. You're going to do 3 of these clusters. That's treble 3 together. We've done this stitch before, so, and chain 1, and that is your treble cluster worked there. We're now going to skip 6 stitches, and now you really need to be careful because the first stitch here can be a little tricky to see because your cluster will be falling over it. So you're going to skip 6 stitches, and then we're going to do a front post half double crochet. So we're going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches. Then on the next, number 7, that's this one, I'm going to do a front post half double crochet. Like so. So this is your cluster worked, and you'll notice that it is pulling your work just a little bit inward, and that's fine because we're going to get a circle at the end of part 18. So this is fine that it's doing this, don't worry about that. So that was a front post half double, and then we now do a back post half double. So on the next stitch we do a back post half double. I'm going to do this 14 times, these 2 stitches. So now again a front post half double, and then a back post. These 2 are alternating, and there we go. Do that just again. It's a back post, and then again a front post on the next, and then a back post. You continue like this until you've done this 14 times. So you have 14 front post half doubles and you have 14 back post half doubles. You can see here I've already made a few and you're getting a very interesting little edge here. So I'm just going to make a jump in the video, continue until you have 14 of these. When you've done the repeat 14 times, you're almost to the end of your second shell. You need to do one more front post half double, like so. And then you've basically done this second shell. We're now going to do a series of clusters again, so exactly the same as before, only you're skipping a different amount of stitches this time. Do a chain 1, and now you're going to skip 4 stitches. Remember, the first time you skipped 6, so this time it's 4, and it's always going to be a different number of stitches that you're skipping, so you're really going to have to check and make sure that you're always skipping the correct number. So after shell number 2, you're going to skip 4 stitches. So let me just check, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches, and then you're going to work in number 5. That's going to be this last back post double crochet stitch. So this stitch here, that's the one we're going to work into. And you're again going to work a treble cluster. So it's exactly the same as before. Basically 3 trebles that you're working together. And I'm folding my work to try and keep my loops as small as possible. 4 loops on your hook that you're taking off in one go. Chain 3, and again in the same stitch a treble cluster, and this is exactly the same as we've done before. So this is just 3 trebles that you're working together, and take them all off. Chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3, and then the third petal of these flowers. Two and 3. Take them all off and chain 1. That's your second cluster there. You can see how these are basically exactly the same as these ones here. I'm going to now skip 6 stitches. So important, this was 4, so on this side is 6, so don't worry about this asymmetry, everything's going to be fine, but you might feel slightly unsure because of this, but it's 6 stitches this time, and then we're going to work a single crochet. And again, be mindful of the first one that you don't skip too many, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches skip, and number 7 is that one. I'm going to work a single crochet. So there's an asymmetry here. Don't get too stressed about this. This will all be fine. But also the number of stitches you're skipping every time is different. So keep checking that you're doing that correctly. That was a single crochet. Now we're going to work a treble, a front post treble around the treble 2 rows down. It's going to be this one here. And the first one you're working is going to be on the 4th treble. So this point here. That's your first treble, twice over. Work a front post treble around that stitch below. Skip 1 stitch to the back. So it's going to be that one, skipping 1 stitch, and then work a single crochet. And work another front post treble around the next treble. Like so. So you've now worked 2 trebles with a single crochet in between. We're now going to again skip a stitch and then work 2 single crochets. So it's 1, 2 single crochets and a treble, a front post treble. You're going to now, this little unit, you're going to do 5 times. So that's skipping a stitch, working 2 single crochets, 1, 2, just move everything, 2 single crochets, and then a front post treble again, skipping a stitch to the back, work 2 single crochets and a front post treble again. So doing this 5 times, skip a stitch, and 1, 2 single crochets, and then a front post again, front post treble, skip a stitch, and work 1, 2 single crochets, come down and work a front post treble, and now I've lost count. Let me just see where we are. Did these 2, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now we have done that 5 times. I'm going to skip a stitch again to the up top here, and on the next stitch work 1 single crochet, and again a front post treble, again skipping a stitch, work 1 single crochet and a front post treble. It's going to be this one here, and you're going to still skip a stitch to the back and work 1 last single crochet, like so. At this point you'll notice that you have 3 trebles unworked on this side and you have 3 trebles unworked on that side. So that's the symmetry you're looking for here. If you have 4 unworked or 3 unworked, you know something went wrong somewhere. But this is what you're looking for. 3 here and 3 there. That is shell number 3 completed. And now we're going on to shell number 4. And again, in this valley, you're again going to do a little flower exactly like you've done there. Chain 1, and again skipping a different number of stitches compared to the previous shells. This time again the chain 1, don't forget the chain 1, skipping 5 stitches this time round. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches skip. The next one you're working in is going to be this one here. That's the front post and the first back post double crochet. That's the one you're going to work into, and you're going to make a treble cluster in that stitch. 2 and 3, chain 3, another treble cluster in the same stitch, and a third leg, and take them all off. Chain 3, and I'm slightly out of view, sorry, and a third petal, again a treble cluster exactly the same as you've done before. That's leg number 2 and leg number 3, all off, and chain 1. We're now on to shell number 4, and here we're again skipping 5 stitches, so this time it's the same on both sides. So skipping, and then we're going to do a front post half double, so skipping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. On stitch number 6, I'm going to do a front post half double. And for this shell, shell number 4, you're going to do the same as on shell number 2. So that's a front post followed by a back post half double. And again we're doing this 14 times. So one front and one back. So this is twice, and then a front post half double and the back post half double. So this is 3 times. Continue until you've done this 14 times. When you've done 14 of these little units, you still need to do one front post half double to get a nice symmetric finish. We're now again going to do a small flower here in the valley, just like we've done before. So chain 1, and this time we're skipping 6 stitches. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches skip. Number 7 we're going to work in. That's going to be the second of these 2 single crochets you have here. So I'm going to work a treble cluster in that second single crochet. So again, twice over, and work a treble cluster in that that second single crochet. And I'm trying to fold my work to keep these loops as tidy as possible. Chain 3 and another petal, so another treble cluster, and 3 like so, and again chain 3, and then the third petal in that space. So 1, 2, and then this is the third petal. Take them all off. Chain 1. We're going to skip stitches, won't surprise you, and this time we're going to skip 5 stitches. So take note, 5 stitches skip, and then we do a half double. So I'm going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches, and then work a half double. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 skip. So number 6, going to work a half double. And that first half double there is in the second popcorn, in that double crochet you worked on the second popcorn. So that's just a checkpoint. So 1, going to work 3 half doubles, so that's 2, 3 half doubles, and now 25 single crochets. It's 1, 2, 3. Continue until you have 25. That's going to bring you to this side of your of this cluster. So that's cluster number. So not cluster, shell number 1. So work 25 single crochets. Work 25 single crochets, and single crochet number 25 is worked in the double crochet that's in the first, and in this this popcorn here, that's popcorn number 11. And this is the same stitch that we started with. Remember that standing single crochet? This is an equivalent stitch to that. That means we're now going to do 3 half doubles, which is going to be the start of the next full repeat. 2, 3, chain 1, skipping stitches, and then in that second of these 2 single crochets you're going to work your next series of clusters. And then everything you've just done you're going to do 7 more times. Go all the way around, and when you get to your first stitch, that first single crochet, close to that stitch with a slip stitch. Round 7, sorry, 107. Sorry, 107. Hear me, around 7. We're going to start on the 8th single crochet on any of your shells that contain these popcorns. So counting single crochet number 8. Now remember, you have first the 3 half doubles, so those you're of course not counting. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So your 8th single crochet. You're going to start in there with a standing single crochet. So let me just check in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, this is number 8. I'm going to start in there with a standing single crochet. Next. And we're going to continue and do 12 more single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, number 11, and number 12. That's 12 single crochets plus the standing, so this is 13 in total. We're now going to start our repeat unit. We're going to start by making 3 half double crochets on the next stitches. That's 1, 2, here we go, 2 and 3. So that's 3 half doubles, and on the next stitches we're doing 3 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3 double crochets. We're going to make a treble on the next 2 stitches. You still have 2 stitches left here, and those 2 you're going to do a treble on each. So you can see how you're building your stitch length. So we're filling the gap here, the valley that you have between these shells. You're filling this up here. So those were the 2 trebles. I'm going to skip the chain 1 space and the next cluster. So this is this cluster here, and then in the chain 1 space that's after it, we're going to work our first stitches. So in this chain 1 space, I mean the chain 3 space, we're going to make a treble cluster in the chain 3 space. So that's exactly the same way as we've done these treble clusters here. So you're working a treble 3 together basically in the chain 3 space. That's 1, 2, and 3, and then take them all off. I'm going to do a chain 1 and then again a treble cluster in the next chain 3 space. So you're skipping the cluster itself and going to the chain 3 space. And here you're again working a treble cluster. So that's 1. This is the second leg, and you want 3 legs in there, and take them all off. Yes, and take them all off. We just quickly rearrange everything here. We're going to skip the cluster and the chain 1 space, and then on the first 2 stitches here you're going to work a treble again. So that means it's going to be very similar to this side here, where you've had the 2 trebles and then you're working 2 clusters. Now we're again going to work 2 trebles on this side. So on the first stitch, that's this half double here, and that work a treble, and the stitch after it also work a treble. So those are 2 trebles. Right, now work 3 double crochets. So these are on these front and back post stitches of shell number 2. working 3 double crochets, and then 3 half double crochets. So 1, 2, 3 half doubles, and now it won't surprise you, we're going to work single crochets, and we're going to work 13 in total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then number 13, like so. So now you've worked 13 single crochets. Now we need to do the same on this side as on that side. So we're going to work 3 half double crochets. So 1, 2, 3 half doubles, and then 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3, and at this point you should have again 2 stitches left, and you're going to work 2 trebles on those stitches. So 1 treble and a second treble on that last stitch. There we go. So now you've done shell number 2. So now we're going to move on to shell number 3. We're going to do something very similar in all of these stitches, in all these shells. I'm doing the between the shells bit. We're going to again skip the chain 1 space and the cluster, and we're going to work a treble cluster in the chain 3 space. So this is very similar to what we've just done. 2 and 3. Take them all off. Chain 1. Then again a treble cluster in the next chain 3 space. So 1, 2, and then of course a third one, and take them all off. We're skipping the last cluster here and the chain 1 space, and on the first 2 stitches going to work a treble, and that first stitch is in this case a single crochet. So I'm going to work a treble on there and also a treble on the next. There we go. Continue, and it won't surprise you, this time is a double crochet. I'm going to work 3 double crochets, 2, and number 3, and now 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to work single crochets, but this time only 8 single crochets. Don't go autopilot and do 13. You only need 8 here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yes, and there we go. 6, 7, and number 8. I'm going to come back down again, so 3 half doubles. 1, 2, 3 half doubles, then 3 doubles. So 1, 2, and this here's number 3. You have 2 stitches left, and on those 2 stitches you're going to do a treble again. So it's very similar, all of these shells, but you're not always working the same number of single crochets. So you really you should just keep paying attention that you're not working. So if you don't have these 2 stitches left for your trebles, you most probably made too many single crochets here on this shell. But we're now moving on to the next shell again, and you're going to do something very similar, of course. You're going to skip the chain 1 space, that's that space, and skipping the cluster to work a treble cluster in the chain 3 space. So 1, 2 and 3, take them all off, chain 1, get more yarn, and you're going to, in the next chain 3 space, that space again, work a treble cluster. So 1, the second leg and the third leg of my cluster, 4 loops on your hook, take them all off. Moving on to shell number 4, going to do a treble on the first 2 stitches, and that first half double is always a little tricky to get into. There you go. So that's your first treble, followed by another treble on the next stitch. And there we go. Continue making half doubles, 3 to be exact. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, these are 3 double crochets. Did I just say half doubles? 3 double crochets, and now you're doing 3 half doubles. So 1, 2, and 3 half doubles. And now you're on the single crochets again, and here you're doing 13. So 1, 2, and that is of course a little tricky because you're doing 13 always, except for one shell where you're just doing 8. So make sure you don't accidentally make a mistake there. And of course there's always also one shell where you're doing more than 13 actually. But here we're doing 13 on shell number 4 we're at, and I've just lost count of course because I've been talking to you, and these are the 3, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so it's 3 more, 10, there's 11, 12 and 13, and there we go. You can't count and crochet and talk to people at the same time. That, for me at least, is a little hard. Going to continue on this side the same as on that side. So 3 half doubles. So 1, 2, 3 half doubles, 3 doubles, 3 double crochets. 1, 2 and 3, and then on your last 2 stitches again you do 2 trebles. 1 and there we go, 2. I need to move everything again. You're now onto the bridge to your first shell with the popcorns again. So the last part, and then you can do everything that we've just done 7 more times. Doing exactly the same, skipping the chain 1 and the cluster, we're going to work a treble cluster in the chain 3 space. So this part is always the same for all the bridges between the shells. So with these clusters we're bridging the gap and we're closing the gap to get a full circle. So that's the treble cluster, chain 1, and then we're going on to the next chain 3 space and going to work another cluster in there. Add a second and a third leg of the cluster and take them all off. We're now on to the last part. This is our first shell again. Work exactly the same. 2 trebles on the first 2 stitches. There we go, and that half double it's always tricky getting into one of those first half doubles because that stitch tends to close a little bit. So 2 trebles, then 3 double crochets, 2, 3, 3 half double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to work single crochets, and this time we're doing 15. We started with 13 here, remember, the standing single crochet and then plus 12, but 15 is actually the full repeat. So when you're coming around on your last repeat, you won't do 15 stitches but only 2, of course. And this time we're doing 15 to bring us to the point where you would again do the half doubles, trebles and everything, where you can just start the repeat unit all over again. And of course I've lost count again, so I'll just have to check where I am in a moment. So I think I still need a few more. If I just eyeball this, just see those are the 3. Yes, so here it starts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Hey, exactly 15. Well, that's actually more luck than anything else. 15 single crochets, and now we're ready to come back down, and we're going to here your repeat unit starts all over again. So it's 3 half doubles, 3 doubles, 2 trebles, then work here, then go on to stitch number shell number 2, etc., etc. Do everything you've just done. So bridging all these gaps, do everything, all of that, go all the way around, and then you're ready for the final part of Mandala Madness.